happening, fight fans? Welcome to another great episode of Headkicks and Haymakers. I'm your boy Bodkins, and of course with me is always Mr. Bobby Blunts. Bobby, what a great night in Abu Dhabi, I guess Saturday afternoon that we had. RDR. I mean, we might as well start there. That's the headliner for me is, he takes a close fight with Robert Whitaker. I mean, in fact, you could tell me which guy won. I don't even know. Like, I watched that fight, and I just said I don't even know who's winning. It was a back and forth fight. It was a close fight. I hate to anybody tell me it was a robbery because you could have made a case that Robert won that fight. You can make a case for RDR won the fight, but the judges scored it for RDR, and he is now in the top five. This is the first time in like a decade that Robert Whitaker is not in the top five. So, Bobby, let's just start with the fight first, and then kind of what's next for RDR here.
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely glad we got this fight. Glad it, stayed on. I think it was definitely the right choice of, billing it as the main event and stuff. Obviously, the fans didn't agree because they were, walking out before the main event started. But, that's kind of always going to happen when you prioritize the site fee there. But the fight itself, I thought was great. There were a lot of close rounds. The first round was very close. You could have either scored that one either way. I think DeRitter definitely took the second there. And that third round,
that was close because Bobby almost got him out of there in the third, but RDR was kind of putting it on him right before it hurt Bobby. Before he got hurt, it's just that was a close round.
I don't know how many other middleweights would have even survived that, like let alone taking the shot, but him being able to recover and in my opinion winning that round, that was just like, oh, okay, well, because we saw him perform in one, and there's kind of always going to be like that fan asterisk of one say, even though the guy was a 2-division champion and one, they want to see it here. And, people obviously didn't criticize the Bo Nickel performance, but tried to make that a lot more about Bo Nickel. There is nothing that you can take away from this fight and not, credit to Ritter on it. They definitely, at times the fight did get a little bit sloppy. Ironically, he just kind of has it looks like a sloppy product, like you're getting it. I mean, it almost kind of reminds me of the current middleweight champion, ironically.
Yeah, I told you, if DDP and RDR fought, it would be the most awkward fight between two fighters in the history of the world. It's like two Gumbies fighting. That's what it would be like. Like, evil Gumby and good Gumby, like duking it out. That's what I think that fight would look like. And it was a close fight. And I told you, let's we got to pour one out here for the title contention there for Robert Whitaker. I think his days in the top five and title contender is done in a close fight. But it's kind of over for Bobby Knuckles as far as being an elite top guy. He's lost to all the guys in the top five. Go ahead.
One thing I would say about that is, like you said, it was extremely close. Like, I definitively scored it for DeRitter. If he did not win, I wouldn't have cried too much foul because it was that close of a fight. And I do think the UFC is going to try to, book him against these future young guys and stuff. And in any other division, I'd probably agree with you and say, hey, it's probably, not going to be his time. But I do think he can still compete with the very top of that division. Like, I think he would beat Kaio pretty significantly if they were to fight. And he's someone that's, ranked there. But I get what you kind of mean of with that loss, it is going to be a little bit of work for him to get back. But I do think he can kind of keep competing as long as he wants to, as far as it being competitive and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm not saying like his run is over as just far as that. I just think as a elite level guy that you're like, you know, there was a time where it's like you got to beat him just to get to Izzy, and nobody could beat him. You know what I mean? Like that's the thing I'm looking at is like, you know, so it's his run is like the next guy or the guy like that gatekeeper of the top 5. You know, I think he might. Currently, he's 7. You know, so and you look at the top 5, he has lost to DDP, the champion. I don't know about Sean Strickland. I guess, you know, that he's still at 2. He lost to Hamzat, lost to Izzy multiple times, lost to RDR. So like all those guys he's already lost to. So I mean, maybe he wins like a up and coming name, and then you could match up with. Well, shit, I don't even know about Sean Strickland. He's suspended, so we don't even know what to do. But what do you make of RDR? Like, is he a legit title contender now? It's like. And they, you know, it's crazy. Like we're watching these guys they've brought in from the PFL, right? And they put them guys against the top. We've seen them do that against, Pitbull. He fought elite guys. Patchy Mix fought, elite guy at the top. You know what I mean? Like and then Pico here is going to be fighting. You know, was due to fight the number one guy. And is pulled out, and now he's going to fight Lerone Murphy, who's a top 5 fight. They didn't do this with RDR. Remember, his first fight was like Gerald Mershark in the Apex, and then it was Kevin Holland, and then it was then Bo Nickel, bottom guy, and then they're like, okay, let's just see what he really got against Bobby Knuckles, and then he beats Bobby Knuckles. So it's like they did not put him on that. They kind of slow cooked him a little bit more than they have these other guys that they're bringing in.
And the wild part about it is both DeRitter and Pico are both managed by Ali.
Yeah.
And I really just do think it is a case of I don't know if maybe the UFC has learned its lesson from booking DeRitter, but they kind of always publicly spoke on him a lot more. And I personally thought it was malpractice having DeRitter debut in the Apex. Like, how much more can you no-sell a guy? And, he definitely had some kinks in that performance. I would probably say that was his worst fight in the UFC, was the first one. But since then, he's really just continued to improve and, show that old Foreman 1. I mean, he's definitely a huge 185er. I mean,
yeah, he looked huge in there against Bobby. No, because I know Bobby's a small 185er, but like RDR he looks huge, in there. Like you said, I think him and DDP, like I feel like they should be related.
Yeah, I mean I would easily take a trilogy of the two of them. Like, not only would I think it would be comical, but at the same time, I do think those fights would more or less deliver. I mean, just in that first round, when he was fighting Whitaker, DeRitter here, not Drickus.
Yeah.
Him being able to close the distance and getting a hold of him, you saw how quickly Whitaker was taking that seriously, because they were pretty fresh then. He didn't want to stall and really get taken down, and he is really a finisher. I mean, you normally see him kind of always going for the finish and stuff, and it's wild to me that he's already essentially fought out his UFC contract, and it just kind of went by that with activity. And it's now he's in this point where he's absolutely in that conversation. I mean, you got Kaio whining and bitching about, you really think you deserve a title shot off that performance? It's like, I'm sorry, Kaio. He now has a better win on your resume than you do.
Yeah, I mean, you beat Bobby Knuckles, right? Like, that's the thing. You beat Bobby Knuckles. That puts you right next in the title. Like that's just been how it's been.
Yeah, and Kaio beat Jerry Cannonier in a fight that he definitely definitively won. But there was quite a bit of back and forth, and Kyle took a hell of a lot of damage in that fight too. Though in the third round is like the most damage he took when he got dropped there. And, watching it back, I still can't believe he was able to recover from that and pretty much still win the round, too. I mean, normally when you get dropped like that, not only do you drop that round, but most of the times you drop the next round because, you're just fighting a little bit second guessing and stuff. And he fully recovered and just kept putting it on him there. The last two rounds, it definitely kind of stalled, but to Ritter's credit, he was able to just kind of hold Whitaker up against on the fence and stall it out. I really got no problem with that, with the action they were doing. And in my opinion, it was definitely more on Whitaker. Like going into the fifth round, though it was close, I did think Whitaker probably needed a finish to win. Granted, the scorecards were a little all over the place, but I don't know, man. It just baffles me when you got people like Kaio and especially fucking Paulo Costa, like trying to shit on that performance. Like, get the fuck out of here with that, Candy.
Yeah, I agree. I'm right there with you. I think DeRitter, I kind of said that, told you on this on Saturday too. I think DeRitter should take the loser of the Imanov Kaio fight, right? Because like we think the winner of that fight's got next against DDP, or the winner of DDP and Hamzat. So maybe he gets the loser of the Kaio fight, and that's like the number one. He needs probably one more, right? Like, I mean, he needs one more.
I could see it both ways. Definitely, I think it would be probably good for him to get one more. But at the same time, it does seem like the UFC is absolutely in the DeRitter business. And, it wouldn't shock me at all if off giving him a fresh contract, they, push him up. I mean, granted, it's probably going to come down to who wins the fight next month. Absolutely. Because I do think if Dricus wins, and it kind of probably has to do with what we get out of the performance with Imanov there. But I could see it either way. I would selfishly kind of want to see one more for him. I really like the matchup with like him and Izzy. Because, I mean, especially now that you mentioned Strickland getting suspended.
Definitely like that, and they couldn't figure out a deal there, so he's in. And now I don't know if these I don't know how that works. Like when you're suspended like that, it said Vegas, but I don't.
Yeah,
know.
but it's unilateral because when you are suspended like that, that is like the one thing that these commissions all seem lockstep on, and like they couldn't even take him to the desert and give him a fight. So the question will be, how long does the suspension kind of linger? Because it's definitely been kind of questionable wording. So it wouldn't shock me at all if it was a little shorter than some people are projecting. But, at the same time, I pretty much just have Strickland off my board when it comes to making matchmaking and stuff like that, because it just doesn't seem really realistic. And especially with Izzy wanting a fight, I think him and DeRitter would just be perfect because you can bill it the same way, two former champions. And I would be very kind of curious to see how that would go down too. Because, it would be no question that DeRitter would probably want to get a hold of Izzy and make it a grappling affair. But at the same time, I don't think DeRitter would be afraid to strike. I mean, I can't believe we've gotten 15 minutes into this podcast and I haven't mentioned those knees to the body.
He was crushing. Yes.
That was the moneymaker that Whitaker had absolutely no answer for. It was essentially what folded Bo Nickel. And I know you're probably
folded Bobby. Both guys looked tired in the 4th and 5th. But I mean, DeRitter showed he can go the 5 rounds, so that's that. But man, you called it even in the fight. You texted me in the fight during the fight, like them knees, and he was just throwing them knees at Bobby's stomach, and like he was just eating them every time, and that was a deadly weapon for him.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely drained Rob's cardio a lot quicker, I think, because it, just especially in the 4th, 5th round, with him just being, held on the fence for a decent portion of those rounds, he just definitely seemed tired. And but at the same time, that is why I would have no issue if they just decided to, slide him in there on another one. I definitely think Imavov should get it next. And make no mistake, I am not speaking in hyperbole here. I think Imavov will finish Kaio. And, if Kaio wants to make me a believer, this will absolutely be your chance. But I'm kind of cashing that one in as a layup for Imavov because I just think he's better everywhere. And if he is able to finish Kaio, especially with those Paris fans, I definitely think he would get the next opportunity. But
yeah, the timeline, it's crazy because like the timeline for all 3 of these guys lines up, right? We RDR just fought this past weekend. In about 2 weeks' time, we're gonna get the DDP fight, and then here's the thing though, Kaio's now the backup is signed on to be the backup fighter, which is a little weird that it wasn't Imanov. And then he's going to turn around and fight again in September.
I think Imanov has a brain, and he's prioritizing the fight that he actually has, where Kaio is more about clicks than training.
He's going to cut weight twice in about a month time.
You got to cut weight twice. And, let's be real, and I'll knock on wood here, but essentially for nothing. He's...
I don't know.
He's already... trying to act like he's the number 1 contender because of this. And, I don't really want to put that bad energy out in the air because, we have both of these guys pass. I'd like it pointed out, it is not just Chimaev that we should be worried about this thing happening. But obviously he's going to be the low-hanging fruit with, the amount of, I would call them higher profile cancellations. But let's just be real. It's because we were that much more excited to see that. But now that, Chimaev in his last fight has his nutrition all dialed in, he seems to be, handling the cut a lot better and has just been training his ass off, but making it a point not to overtrain, which kind of has some of these health concerns. And I don't know if it's me being optimistic, but I just think Kaio is wasting an extra weight cut here. And I get his perspective of, well, if something were to happen, I could be that guy. But I mean, I don't think the UFC is gonna show him any favoritism for future matchups because he's booked with a fight. And
they put him. He is they already booked him in a high profile fight. It doesn't get any more high profile than a number 1 contender fight than a title fight. So you know what I mean? He's just going to be there because they got to have a backup fighter with Hamzat and DDP. Really, you know what I mean? Because we've just seen Hamzat not make it more than once and have problems before.
Yeah, and I completely understand why they're having a backup fighter. I'm a little surprised, and who knows, maybe they approached him about it, but and I guess it's kind of hard to do coming off a loss, but you could have just called Izzy.
I agree with that.
And you're not only talking about Kyle having to be there in Chicago and cut the weight, but after that, you got to get over to Paris. And it's not like he's just going to be sitting around eating donuts and stuff. He's going to be training. But in a fight where I already did not like his chances, I just don't see the point of cutting weight twice.
Yeah, I want to get back to that card real quick, but I want to finish up. I want to talk a little bit about Petr Yan here. Kind of, I don't really want to say turn back the clock, but he's back to what the Petr Yan I think that we all saw, this great bantamweight fighter from a few years ago before he went on that skid. This is his third win in a row here. I mean, two things can be said the same. Petr Yan there's levels to this shit, and Petr Yan showed that. But Marcus McGee also proved that he belonged. But he just doesn't have quite the experience. And Petr Yan, though, is one of the top 2 or 3 best bantamweights in the world. Now, he's calling for the winner, for Sandhagen and Merab. And if I'm Petr Yan, I'm praying to the Lords, the heavens, and everything above that Corey wins, because he has a win over Corey. I don't really know if anybody's really signing up to watch him and Merab again. Merab dominated him from pillar to pillar, from minute to minute in their fight. I think it was like 30 some odd takedowns, it felt like, just over and over again. Now, Petr did say like he was hurt, but at first, Bobby, like Petr kind of turned it on a little earlier, I thought, than normal on Saturday, which was great. That's what we want to see, what we needed from him to see. But I mean, your thoughts on just kind of Petr Yan and maybe kind of what's next? He kind of said he didn't want to fight Umar. I think maybe that's the fight to make if you're not going to wait. And I just think I think that would be a fun fight.
Yeah, no, I agree. So yeah, as far as Jan's performance, absolutely. He did not start slow, which we're kind of more accustomed to seeing. He fought like he knew he only had 3 rounds, and he took advantage of it there. But at the same time, it's, Marcus McGee came back in the second, and like you said, he showed he absolutely belonged. And there is absolutely nothing that I saw in that fight on Saturday that would make me think that the fight against Merab would go any other way.
No.
I think he would get just as dominated, if not probably finished. And at the same time, too, like, because I know like Jan has a very, passionate fan base and stuff. I'd be a little upset that he wasn't able to get a finish. If he's like really talking about wanting to go to the top, and like, granted, McGee is very game. So I shouldn't like knock him too much for that, but like we probably shouldn't be going offline and stuff. But everything I see about him is that like he would have absolutely walked through McGee, and though he definitely won, he in nowhere at any time really walked through him. I mean, the first minute looked a little rough in the first round. But, McGee held his own. And I just have no appetite to see him fight Merab again. It kind of reminds me of when, and obviously do not clip this and compare the legacies, but like when when Usman was champion, and Kobe actually could defeat other opponents and stuff. And granted, the matchmaking was a little bit more favorable and stuff. But, as long as Merab is champion, I don't think Jan is touching that belt. I can't say the same for Umar. Like, the reason Umar is still up there is because he, to this day, gave Merab his toughest fight. And I have no problem with him being ranked ahead of Jan, especially when you look at their performances against Merab.
Yeah. Agreed. And I wouldn't mind seeing them two go at it, really. Like, you know what I mean? If they said Umar versus... Now, Petr doesn't seem like he wants to do that. But to me, that's the fight to make. I think that would be a fun fight.
Oh, I've been calling for that for since they signed Umar. A big part of me wanted to see that originally before they booked him against Sandhagen. And, you know, I do trust, I saw that it was reported, you know, not confirmed, but he's gotten stuff right in the past. So I'm pretty, because for one, we saw Ali say that Umar had a 5-round main event.
Yeah.
And I'm hearing that is against Mario Batista, which is a fight I actually really hope happens. I think that will be very entertaining.
God, I hope Mario wins.
And, you know, people might laugh at it, but I do think Mario has a better skill set to give Merab problems than Jan does.
Yeah.
And
he's bigger. He's bigger. You know what I mean? And just a little bit better on the ground.
Yeah. And I completely understand Jan's side of not wanting to fight Umar. I'm in no way going to say like he's trying to duck him or anything, but at the same time, I mean, he did watch. You know, he knows what he's getting into with Umar, and you know he can dismiss him all he wants, but you know, if that match is kind of offered to him, I think he would probably decline it and you know, kind of wait for the title shot because you know he feels like he probably bought some good graces with the UFC fighting McGee in the first place.
Yeah,
but yeah, if there was like one fight to make off that I would want to see, it would absolutely be Jan versus Umar, just because I'd really want to see what would happen. It definitely should be a 5-round main event, just for, you know, you can't have an elite fight like that be 3 rounds. And I would say the same thing for why they're making Umar versus Mario Batista. I mean, that absolutely has to be 5 rounds too.
Yeah, you got to see if Mario can even go 5 rounds. Like he's never been there, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely glad that, watch, this doesn't even get made, so this will age like milk. But I'm glad that the UFC is actually putting Mario in that spot to possibly succeed when, you know, he made Patchy Mix just look lost in there and they couldn't even give him a post-fight interview, you know? So it's good to see that, you know, hopefully that happens. But I do think Jan is just going to kind of wait to see what happens there. But if Merab wins, you know, I really don't see the UFC pulling that card. But I will kind of say Merab is at that point when almost anyone you're going to offer him is a rematch. So that would, you know, kind of be the caveat to probably go ahead and make it. But I really didn't see anything on Saturday that would make me believe that that would go any other way against Merab.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. Speaking of staying at 135 and winning Saturday, what you make of Bryce Mitchell? I mean, and shout out to Bryce. He said send him to Arkansas for 3 years and forget about it.
Yeah, I'm glad he got the win, but I don't know. It was he didn't have too much offense. He just kind of held him there the entire time. And I didn't get the look of oh wow, he, you know,
he's going to be a player here at 130.
Yeah, he looks, because you know that's another motherfucker division too. And definitely there'll be kind of some interesting matchmaking that they can do. And I know it's extremely humid in Abu Dhabi, so I don't know if that had anything to do with them getting gassed, but the two of them were essentially grappling the entire time. So it kind of made sense that they slowed down there. But definitely kind of a good win for him to get back to. But I really didn't see anything different from him. Kind of cut, like, I don't know, maybe having to cut that extra weight was it wasn't like he was really going for any submissions or anything. He was really just trying to hold those positions and stuff.
Yeah,
and, you know, I think if
the opponent
anything,
too, so we'll have to see. Yeah.
Well, I think if anything, it just told me more about Sed than it really did about Bryce.
Yeah.
It was just a really, rough outing for Sed there. But, you can only do with what the opponent they're giving you. So credit to him for getting the win for that. But I mean, Sed wasn't even ranked, so like I don't even know where they'd go for a future opponent for Bryce there. But I know the UFC likes him because he'll never turn down a fight and always take the call. So I'm sure he'll probably get back in there quickly. And it. But I gotta say they probably did the right thing of putting that one on the prelims there.
Yeah, Sharp Bullet, nice win. Like he got rocked. That was a good fight with him and Marco Andre Burlat. But Sharp Bullet gets the unanimous decision there. Real quick, we got a shout out Steven Wynn. I mean, this guy breaks the record for having the most knockdowns in a UFC fight in 2 rounds. We all saw on Saturday just the giant baseball sized hematoma on his eye. Thank God they finally stopped the fight. I didn't mind it. Like it is what it is, and you knew going at the end of the second he wasn't going back out there for the third.
Yeah, Jason Herzog is a fucking moron. I'm sorry. Like, I feel like going back to that Derek Lewis stoppage, he clearly knows he made a mistake there. And I feel like his bad work in that fight translated to this fight.
I feel like that happens with all referees though. Like if one fight they everybody's like, oh, they stopped it too early. The very next fight, they don't it's like the guy's gotta be dead. You know what I mean? Like it's just like, all right, well, this time he lets him die. Like, yeah, I guess it evens it out.
Yeah, I just find it comical that they relied on the Abu Dhabi, commission, or like if who even knows if that guy was a real doctor. But he even was like, yeah, no, that's it. And
what was it, Johnny Walker? Where are you? I'm in the desert. Nah, that's not good enough.
it was just pretty bad when you can sit like after the second time he got dropped, the fight was over.
Yeah, 6 times. He got dropped 6 times.
And yeah, I mean, I'm not sure what he was seeing. If Wynn maybe made the choice to follow up, he probably could have ended it multiple times. But at the same time, I really can't blame him for just telling him, be like, no, get back up. I'm trying to get that flash KO to get 50 G's. But great performance by him. I hate taking away from the fighter's performance over, bad officiating. So, he did his job and he did it very well. Do you have anything more to touch on? I definitely wanted to pivot back to Sharp Bullet there.
Yeah, go ahead.
He definitely got his nose broken. So he fought through adversity. Yo, what up, Bobby? He fought through the adversity, but I don't know. I'm just always going to feel like there's a ceiling with him.
Yeah, he's got one freaking eye.
Well, not even the eye. Like, he could be blind. The grappling is just, I don't know how especially in this division, how we're going to realistically, talk about him being a title contender. And like, I saw a bunch of people calling for the Izzy fight. I understand, like, stylistically why that would be entertaining. It would just be completely all striking. But I don't know. I mean, even Izzy at his old age, I think he would piece him up pretty badly there. But, I'm an advocate for fun, so I'm not saying I don't want to see it. But I think there are just so many other fights that they could make that would give kind of Shara more of a chance. And especially since he always seems to be getting just booked in Abu Dhabi or just somewhere over there, because realistically, I just don't think he can get sanctioned to fight in America.
I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's it.
But, it's like, it's a fun experiment. He's fun to watch.
Yeah.
But
just keep putting him in fun fights.
Yeah, fun fights, but let's not kid ourselves about like the kid. Like if they want to do him and Paulo Costa, sure. I'm sure that would be like a little bit of a funner build up and stuff. I think that's far more logical than him versus Chimaev or something like that.
Agreed.
And I don't know. I'm not trying to like sour on him because like he clearly won and he fought back after
him and Marvin Vettori. Just do him and Marvin. Him and Marvin would be fun.
I think Marvin would throw him on his ass if he did
That's
that,
probably
though.
true, though. Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I mean, Cannonier, you can make that.
Ooh,
I mean, he's already fought MVP, and you kind of saw his issues there, and that's the main reason I was poo-pooing the Izzy matchup, because like we saw him fight MVP and the struggles he had. What do you think's going to happen when you put Izzy in front of him?
Yeah,
more of the same with that. But I think the UFC clearly knows what they have in him, and it kind of shows with the matchmaking there. So I think they're just going to continue to book him in fights that could be fun. But I don't think they have any ideas of trying to book him in contender matchups.
Yeah, I'm agreement with you. Real quick here, Dean Thomas, I saw a thing that he said. We've been talking about the Hamzat DDP fight, and that's what reminded me of this. Dean Thomas said like he thinks it would be a complete disaster if Hamzat beats DDP because he's so unreliable. And then there's, I know your favorite guy, Kyle, he was saying that he thinks Hamzat would retire if he wins. I don't think the UFC is doing that. If they they're not going to book him in a championship fight if they thought he was going to retire. But I do see Dean Thomas's point as far as like it could be. I don't want to say a disaster, but it would be very hairy to jump in that business with him if he wins, because we've seen the troubles in the troubles of the misfight, the health issues. There's just been so much. Mainly at once. I'm spinning here. Not so much here at 180, but or 185. But your thoughts here on what Dean Thomas said?
I think Dean's just a little bitter because Khabib didn't know who he was that one time, and he holds that. He's normally very like fair with his analysis and stuff, and I don't know. Like the comments to me were pretty laughable because especially I understand like the worries of having stuff fall out in the booking, but we've been talking for months saying like who's going to be that next star coming and all that, and the answer is the guy that's fighting next month. It's no secret that the UFC has wanted to put him in this position. I think they would have done it a lot.
They wanted to do this 5 years ago.
Yeah, I think they would have done it a lot sooner if they thought that he was reliable. And them booking him in the Whitaker fight was kind of that litmus test of can we rely on him? And damn, we got the old Chimaev back there. Just completely bulldozed through him. You're not going to tap. I'm just going to, break your teeth with a neck crank, and made very quick and light work of Robert Whitaker. And I don't know. I really think Dean's comments We're more kind of making them on a podcast and stuff like that because, you know, you just can't sell me on him being the champion would be a bad thing for the UFC.
I don't want
I
to
mean,
say.
I
I don't.
understand like where he was going with like the health concerns and stuff, but I think it's a little bit of a stretch for like how he was getting to that point.
Yeah, I see where he's coming from, and I just think maybe like the choice of words wasn't the best, like a disaster or this and that. But like I definitely see like, hey, these guys are concerns, and it seems like we're getting. It seems like there's just certain guys, right? Mozart Evolov, who was supposed to fight last Saturday, is now out, and this guy, and now Pico's going to fight Lauren Murphy on the August Chicago cards, the co-main. It's like there's just a few guys that's just like, man, they can't get out of their own way. Like it just for some reason there's always something they're pulling out of fights. And Hamzat seems like I said, it's been like 5 years in the making, right? Like here we are, 2025. If I would have told you in 2020, like it's going to take 5 years for this guy to fight, for the title, you probably would have said no way. Like he's going to fight for the title next year, year two. You know what I mean? Like so it's just been so long because of all the whether it's the visa troubles, whether it's the health troubles, weight troubles, whatever it is. It just seems like some of these guys just whatever reason can't get out of their own way.
Yeah, I say this all the time, but a lot of times they're not really created equally with the pullouts. Like most of our, for example, has pulled out a lot in the past and had issues, but like specifically for the Pico fight there, I don't know how you expect him to fight injured when he's in that position of being the rightful number one contender.
Yeah.
And instead of going that route, you're having him fight this guy that the organization is extremely high on, and you're supposed to be, going into that fight injured. Like, fuck
I
that.
get it. I wouldn't fight injured either. Where in his spot, you know what I mean? Because you're one away. You're literally one away, and really you shouldn't even have to take that fight. You should already be fighting for the title.
He legitimately could get the title shot now.
That's what I mean. That's what I'm saying. He shouldn't even have been in the spot to take that fight. He should already just be getting ready to fight for the title.
Yeah. So, hopefully that kind of works out on its own. Because I was hearing they were hoping to rebook that for the main event in Chicago. And obviously he wasn't going to be ready. So, they called Leroy Murphy. And that's kind of a blessing in disguise to me, because I think that fight is going to be just as enjoyable and competitive. And I was already on record saying the only thing I care about 319 is the main event staying intact. But I looked at it the other day, and that is a very well-built card there. So, we're going to get the opening two fights on that are going to be the tough finale fight.
Yeah.
And then the rest of it is just, pretty loaded and enjoyable. So, yeah, I mean, Chicago can't get here fast enough. I've said it 1,000 times, but I'm going to be on pins and needles for it. Just don't want to say anything negative to jinx it there.
Yeah, before we get into this week's Glorious Apex card, the next 2 weeks are at the Glorious Apex. I got to ask you, yeah, you're going to laugh at this, but we are a podcast, so I got to spin the wheels a little bit. Your thoughts on Nate Diaz tweeting at Max Holloway saying this motherfucker got his belt. We know Nate's not in the UFC currently, but it seems like he's always a guy that's going to drop numbers. But I'm like, well, what weight class are you going to fight him? Because I don't think Max is going up to 170. And last we haven't seen Nate fight at 155 in damn near a decade.
Yeah, respectfully, that fight is never happening. The more telling thing to me is that Nate's manager has fumbled so hard with negotiations with the UFC that he has his client having to quote tweet stuff about other fighters, asking for just unrealistic matchups. And I don't know if it just, I know Dana will publicly say that he loves Nate and stuff, but I don't know if it just stems back from him walking out to take the Jake Paul fight, that, you know, they don't want to make the precedent there. I could easily see the UFC crushing that all up and throwing it away and bringing him back for a fight. But
the only fight that I think you bring him back for is Conor McGregor, right?
Yeah, that would be the one. It's not going to be Max Holloway. And I'm sorry, anyone trying to sell that as an actual fight is just engagement farming to the highest levels. You know, I get the nostalgia thought in it, absolutely. But yeah, just, and I love Nate. He can do no wrong in my eyes.
Yeah.
But I have absolutely no interest in seeing that.
Yeah, I don't think it happens either. I'm 100% agree with you there. Like, I don't think it's not going to happen. It's just nice to see Nate tweet, I guess, every once in a while. And I want to see, like, Nate. I mean, I don't really even need to care if he comes back. Like, to me, he left the best way. You know what I mean? Like, they tried to feed him to the wolf in Chimaev. It didn't work out in the UFC's favor. He beats Tony Ferguson, kind of sticks it to the organization one last time. Like, I don't really need to see him fight again, really. Like, if he retired, like, I'm okay with that ending.
They tried to take him out the back and old Yeller him.
Yeah.
You know, fortunately for once, the MMA gods had mercy. And, you know, unfortunately, I guess Kevin Holland got paid that night, so like it kind of all worked out. But and you know, at the same time, like that whole situation is the reason you got people like Dean Thomas saying that Chimaev winning the title would be like the worst thing for the sport, because you know people have you know those certain memories, but a lot can happen in 4 years, you know?
Yeah.
And, you know, Chimaev has done his best to kind of stay serious. And, you know, he realized there, I'm never going back down to 170. I'm going to stick at 185. You know, he's been out here in Newport training for months, so he's already been stateside for a good amount of time. It's going to be just as simple as him getting to Chicago. I don't think I've ever been more excited this year for a press conference. That because one of the greatest things that Dricus can pull out of his bag is that back and forth, and so you know, I know it's weeks away from us breaking that down, but I just
Dricus is one of the slightest like trash talkers that like one of the best, but like just under the radar, like slightly trash talks you.
Yeah, he does it pretty well. I mean, especially when you're talking about like an active current champion too, and mainly because none of it feels forced, you know?
Yeah.
It's all just natural. Like someone says something to him and he comes back with it. And it almost reminds me like when he's on the mic of like Twitter fingers or something. Like it's some like just slight that you would say to someone online and something. And it's very rare that you get something where you get that type of trash talking and then like the fight side of it delivers. And
yeah,
I still don't know which way I'm going to go with that one. I'm kind of glad I got 2 weeks to think on it. But I mean, fuck, you kind of led with it. The UFC is definitely making us earn that one in these next couple of weeks. And granted, like this weekend's card, like as a whole, the fights aren't like that terrible, but it just feels like they're kind of picked off, and these are a lot of good fights that you might see all on like a pay-per-view or something, like kind of spread out through a few months. And instead it's just like, nope, here you go. But you know, I know we'll get to that in a little bit, but you know, they're not I don't think it's like that they're not terrible. It's just more comical to me that, like, especially with the main event, it's just like, you know, fuck this surging prospect. We gotta, you know, keep in to our ESPN content, and that is the only thing that matters.
Well,
And,
I mean, it's better than, so like, we'll jump right into it. It's good transition here. I mean, it's better than the last time at the Apex. Remember when I think it was Blanchfield and old girl that like she didn't even make the walk. Mackenzie Dern
Barber.
Oh, Macy Barber. Yeah, thanks. It was Macy. Yeah, Macy couldn't even make the walk. So they fill in Park. You mentioned it. Haesung Park jumping in on a week's notice here to take on Tatsuro Taira. Taira coming off the loss against Royval last time out. But both of these guys, you know, combined here, 26-1. So two surging type prospects here at the flyweight. It ought to be a fun fight. Toyota, pretty heavy favorite, obviously coming in. He's been training at -370. You got Rebecki. Remember, he was in that war a while back on last year's fight of the night, again going on against Chris Duncan.
That was my fight of the year with Rebecki and Oral Bar.
Yeah. Uncle Neil Magny back on the is back out there. He's taking on Elizabu Zaziki dos Santos. So I mean, it's not the greatest. It's your typical Apex card.
Yeah. The main event should be good. I do find it a little comical that it is actually the main event, though. It definitely seems more of like a co-main or a featured bout to me. And I mean, not only that, but this had fallout. Like Steve Ursig got a new opponent off this.
Yeah.
Because, they pulled his opponent off that, which was another kind of short notice replacement fight as is. So, yeah, the inside baseball on this one, it's hard not to just laugh. And, it's just, I find their matchmaking comical for this main event.
So the ESPN hasn't updated because Steve Ursig is supposed to fight next week, but he's not fighting Alex Perez, right? He's fighting Odie Osborne.
Yeah, but he was originally slated to fight the dude his name's Ko, right? Just KO.
Yeah.
So that's who Ursig was supposed to fight. Also on short notice because he, filled in for Perez, and then the fallout for this weekend, they had to pivot quickly, and we got what we got here. And the word of the day is comical because it's just I
feel like they could just have mashed up these next two Apex cards and put them into place, and it would have been all right.
Yeah, and it's unfortunate because like Ko is really on a heater, and credit to him for putting that on the line and already taking a short notice fight, and then stepping up and taking an even more short notice fight with
Park pulled out. Is it Park that pulled out? Park. It says here on ESPN, I got Taira versus Haesung Park.
Yeah, but Park was originally going to fight Ursig on short notice.
Oh, yeah. I got
you. And so he went from taking
Ursig's like fourth different opponent.
Yeah, Ursig, but they finally gave Ursig a winnable fight. It's just comical, again, word of the day, that it took 3 opponent changes to do this. And, you know, I guess TKO is just going to TKO. And that's kind of what we're getting here on
They
Saturday.
didn't want to compete SummerSlam this weekend, you know? So they're just throwing it in the Apex, baby.
I guess, I mean, the fight will be entertaining. I'm not trying to discredit that. I just find how we got here so laughable. And I'll probably be clowning on it the entire time I'm watching it up until I can't wait to see the half-ass video package that they put together for this. I guarantee you they didn't even reshoot certain things, and it's you know, it'll be interesting to see what production does with this.
Yeah.
But like every time that they advertise Drickus versus Chimaev this weekend, I'm just gonna be like, oh, why are you edging me like this? Like, you know, fuck off. I've already purchased it. Like, can we just, you know, get to here already? But, you know, it's gonna be a light 2 weeks. I get the Hall of Fame game tomorrow. That will take away some of my pain. So, but yeah, I mean, just pretty laughable coming off such a high, you know, stakes main event last week that we just get the pivot factory.
Yeah, the next 2 weeks, and then you know, nice build up, you know, to the next pay per view. Bobby, before we get out of here, we got a little PFL too on Friday night. We're into the finals here.
Yeah, that should be pretty entertaining, especially. I think Thad Gene, who's like one of the 170 finalists.
Yeah.
I think he's fighting Story.
Storley, yeah.
And I think they definitely would prefer Thad Gene to win. You know, they can talk all they want about meritocracy and the fighters make their choices, but you can tell from the video packages. Hell, I opened up the PFL app to look up the card, and the Thad Gene interview with Ariel Hawani popped up with it. So, like, they clearly have their horse in the race. They're hoping that's the star that they can make. But at the same time, it just gives the other guy an opportunity to piss in their Cheerios. But those 2 fights, you will see them fighting, you know, for that championship prize. And in the semis, you definitely saw them taking it seriously because of that. So I would expect at least those 2 to be very entertaining. And, you know, getting some Friday MMA is always, you know, a nice little flip up there. If there was one card not to be afraid to go head to head with against the UFC, it probably would have been this Saturday. But hey, at least we're, you know, kind of spanning it out there. But I'm definitely excited to see if Thad can kind of keep that going there. You know, I think the win against Jason Jackson definitely showed that he does belong and he can kind of hang around there. But I am kind of going to be curious to see if he can keep that going because, you know, the way they booked that tournament, it is a lot of wear. It's not like, you know, he's coming off a lot of rest and stuff like that. So, but yeah, I'll definitely be watching it and going to be excited to see who the next quote unquote PFL star is.
Yeah, we'll have to get Dawn on maybe next week. Talk about it. Other than that, man, I think that pretty much sums it up. So we'll have to see. Non-existent here. Dr. Bob has connection to International Intelligence Agency's own crisis management film located in Switzerland. All right. Thanks.
Oh, that's okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, folks, we'll be back next week, 8 o'clock Central, 9 Eastern, for another great episode of Head Kicks and Haymakers. For my guy, Bobby Blunts, I'm Bodkins. Oh, shout out. I was brought to my attention. I almost got out of here. This is officially 3-year anniversary of Head Kicks and Haymakers. In some form, I've been hosting this show. So for close to 3 years now. We've been on off at certain times, but yeah, 3 years ago today, this baby was born, and I've had some different partners along the way, but my guy Bobby is here, and we've been kicking it down for the last almost Bobby, a year?
Yeah, I mean, I'd say hard to say. I know the first time I made an appearance was the Bilal Leon fight.
So yeah, about a year.
Yeah, so probably about a year there.
Yeah.
And, congratulations on that milestone. That's definitely a cool achievement there. And last thing for me, I don't know if you're hearing this, but Sean Cord, for the love of God, please come back to the Discord. You are sorely missed. Without you, that thing is just a sinking ship. So if you see this, Sean, please come back.
All right. Shout out Sean Corn. Shout out 3-year anniversary here at Head Kicks and Haymakers. We're going to keep going for another year and then some, hopefully, baby. Other than that, be a friend, tell a friend, folks.
You ain't getting rid of me.
Share. Yeah. Whit is doing dad stuff all the time right now, so hopefully he'll be back soon too. So see y'all.
Thanks so much for joining us, and until next time, let's talk sport, friends. Thanks for watching.